Hey guys, MCU Collector here with the first of 3 videos showcasing the best of 2018. So I'll be doing a top 10 MCU figures, top 10 comic figures, and I will rank all the Build-A-Figures from this year. Since there isn't even 10 of them, can't do a top 10, so I will do a ranking of my favorite to least favorite. But here are my favorite MCU figures. Now, the criteria for this is kind of all over the place. Basically, I had to have gotten it in 2018. I had to, and obviously it has to be an MCU movie figure. And then how I rank them is just kind of my own personal opinion on what I like best. Now, the way I came up with the list is basically focusing on a couple of different things. Overall aesthetic of the figure. So posability and all articulation, all that doesn't necessarily matter to me. But it's all about how the figure looks, how well executed it is, and like the digital face print. All those kinds of things are going into it. And it's just my personal opinion. I'm sure you guys will completely disagree, and that's okay. But I just wanted to give you my idea, my thoughts, and how I viewed this awesome year that we had of Marvel Legends. So first, I will start with number 10, and then we'll kind of go down to my favorite figure of the year. And I'll also look at a couple of honorable mentions that were absolutely fantastic figures, but just couldn't quite make the top 10 list for me. So we'll get right to it. Here we go. Okay, guys, here are my honorable mentions, and there's a lot more honorable mentions than I had originally planned. But in looking at all of the MCU figures that were released this year, and there were so many because we had that Marvel Studios the first 10 years line, there was just so many movie figures to really go through and choose from. So these ones all didn't make it, and I'll kind of go over the reasons. The Wasp, this figure, it's a good figure, solid figure. The best thing about it was the Evangeline Lilly sculpted head, which I didn't pull out of you know, where I have all of my accessories and stuff placed, but the face sculpt alone is what really pushed this up. Almost made the top 10, but I kind of had to bump it. Iron Spider figure, fantastic figure, absolutely love that figure, except of course, like everyone's gonna knows, no Waldos or no arms or mechanical arms, whatever you want to call it. That figure doesn't have them, so he kind of gets bumped. Doctor Strange, I love this figure. Head sculpt looks really good. My problem is that it's mostly reuse, so just kind of bumped him. The Thanos figure, that's an awesome figure, but I didn't include that because it gets a little tricky because it was the previous version was a Build-A-Figure, and I didn't include Build-A-Figures. This, even though that was a single release, or it was released in a 3-pack, it kind of falls along the same lines, and I didn't think it would be fair on a Build-A-Figure caliber figure to include in a top ranking. But it is a great figure, and I do love that one. The Red Skull, which is the Comic-Con exclusive that came with the electronic Tesseract. This is an outstanding figure because it's very movie accurate with the big black trench coat, which I do really like. But again, the issue is it wasn't a wide release, so it wasn't something that everyone can get a hold of. And we did get a single-carded Red Skull. That was a very solid figure as well. So that's why he's not in the top 10. And then the Ronan the Accuser, one that I was really looking forward to, probably my most anticipated. But then the only issue with this one is going to be the shoulder pads connected to the head. Other than that, I love the figure. It's a solid figure, but I know everyone, lots of people had complaints about the shoulder pads when he turns his head out. It doesn't look right. I'm the same way. I'm not the biggest fan of it. Aesthetically, it looks awesome, just vanilla pose, but because of that little thing, I did bump them. So there's the honorable mentions out of the way. Let's get to number 10. Okay, number 10, Captain America from the Thanos Build-A-Figure wave. This was early 2018. This is probably going to be one of those that nobody's going to agree with me, and for good reason. Now, my thought process on this figure is that the sculpt is outstanding. I love that it's a bulkier figure compared to the previous other Captain America figures. It's not just a reuse of the previous figure that we've got 7 times, whatever it is. So the body on this one I really thought was great. Yes, it has issues because it only comes with 1 shield instead of 2. The face print, while good, it's not great. There was a running change where he actually had a realistic skin tone instead of this orange color that he has, and then the darker hair and beard. I never found that running change, so unfortunately I can't compare it. That would be awesome. It'd probably go higher up than the 10th place if I had that figure. Now, international markets are getting the normal best of wave, and that will include Captain America. I would imagine that Captain America figure will have the running change where the skin tone is correct instead of orangey looking painted on the arms, and then have the darker hair and lighter skin tone. I'm hoping, and once that figure is released, I'll end up picking it up. Probably through eBay or something, but I definitely would get the figure. So my number 10, again, solid figure, great sculpt. Okay, number 9 goes to Vision from the Avengers Infinity War 2-pack with Scarlet Witch. This was a Toys R Us exclusive, and then after Toys R Us closed down, became a fan channel exclusive. So, like Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, those different online e-tailers picked up this 2-pack. We finally got a Vision figure. We all wanted it since Avengers Age of Ultron, or movie collectors, MCU figure collectors, of course. Since Age of Ultron, then Civil War came, like, this is our chance. This is it. It's coming. We got so many figures for Civil War. We didn't get a Vision figure, unfortunately. But now, for Avengers Infinity War, finally we got one. And the Scarlet Witch in that 2-pack was pretty awesome, too. The digital face print on that was outstanding. Completely the same figure as the previous Scarlet Witch, though, so, you know, kind of that one really got bumped down. But finally a Vision figure, and I must say it is a solid figure. Good paint apps, good sculpt. I like it. One of my favorites. So that's their number 9. On to the next one. Okay, the number 8 spot goes to the Avengers Infinity War Cole Obsidian Build-A-Figure Wave 2 Thor. Now, this Thor figure is not the only Thor figure to be in my top 10. This one is on here because I think it's executed extremely well. I think Thor was really a breakout star in Avengers Infinity War. You know, he had probably the most story going into it, having lost, you know, half the Asgardians, Loki. You know, his father passed away, he had to kill his sister, all these things happening to him, and he lost Mjolnir. Of course, that was destroyed. But he had a great story arc in that movie, and it really shined through, and it really stood out to me for the film. And I think the figure is executed quite well with some good paint apps, like on the boots. There's a lot of bronze wash in there and everything. The skin tone, I think, is a little too dark. Hair should be a little darker as well, but overall the face print is good. The Stormbreaker accessory with the little electricity effect is a nice touch. I really do like this figure. Number 8. So let's go to number 7. Okay, the number 8 spot goes to Crossbones from the Marvel Studios, the first 10 years Captain America Civil War 2-pack with Captain America and, of course, Crossbones. This was a figure that, you know, movie collectors, we've wanted since Civil War. Unfortunately, you know, with our Marvel Legends, we tend not to get so many villains, so Crossbones was not produced at the time when the movie came out, which was unfortunate. But the saving grace is with that Marvel Studios 10th anniversary line, we got ourselves a Crossbones figure, and it's great. The sculpt of it is awesome. Lots of great detail. Paint apps are solid. Very happy with it. He is just a secondary villain, however, so who knows if we'll see him in the future of the MCU. The actor, I forget his name, but he's kind of teased that, you know, Brock Rumlow's going to pop up somewhere again, maybe in some kind of prequel that comes along. We shall see. But a solid figure that I'm very, very, very happy to have. Okay, and the number 6 spot goes to Sif. This is from the 2-pack with Thor for Thor the Dark World in the Marvel Studios The First 10 Years line. This is an outstanding figure. It's actually a figure that I kind of forgot about when initially going through what I thought my top 10 favorite MCU figures were going to be. And I'm glad that I circled back around to it because it's an awesome figure. All new sculpt. Everything about it is great, but that face print, I think, is the absolute best that we have. And I say that between 3 different figures, Sif, Black Widow, and Wasp, as far as what the best female face print scans are. This one stands out, and I believe this one is the absolute best. So an awesome figure. I'm glad that we got something back from Thor the Dark World, because initially that figure didn't have any Legends figures whatsoever. They had a 3 3/4 inch line, and that was it. Solid figures in that line, but we want the 6-inch Legends, so I'm glad we got a Sif. It would be awesome if we got the Warriors 3. I doubt that's going to happen, but for now we have Sif. Now, who knows? Maybe she'll pop up in a future MCU movie. We don't know. She was not in Ragnarok. She was not killed off like the Warriors 3. So we shall see. I know Jamie Alexander, the actress, she has a TV show called Blind Spot. My brother watches it. I haven't seen it. Not a fan. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments below if you like that. But due to scheduling, I think that becomes an issue as far as getting her in to other films. But there may be other things going on. Who knows? Especially when they change the character direction of Thor. But Sif, awesome figure, outstanding. That's the number 6. Let's go to number 5. Okay, the number 5 figure goes to the Mandarin himself, Trevor Slattery. Now, this figure I think is going to be one that's not going to be amongst the popular choices that I have for you today. But I think this is a fantastic figure. The biggest thing about this figure that really gets him into the top 10, that face scan is the best male face scan that we have on any Legends MCU figures. Hands down. That is the best. It looks amazing. Awesome. I love it. The other thing is, because when I first started getting into collecting, some of you guys may know this, I may have talked about it in another video at some point before, but I was going through a divorce, and that really, that hit me kind of hard, but collecting really helped me through that tough point in my life. And as I started collecting, what I first noticed were movie figures. So we had figures for Iron Man 3. So we had the Mark 42, I believe it was, and then we had the Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes, and we also had, actually that was it. So those 2 movie figures I noticed, and that's also around the time that the Winter Soldier wave had come out, Mandroid wave. So I'd seen Captain America, you know, Black Widow, all these really awesome movie figures were coming out. So that's really pulled me in, and it really gave me something to focus on and something to be passionate about and enjoy. But as I was doing research, as you know, starting into collecting and everything, I noticed that, hey, there's some figures that supposed to come out, or were supposed to have come out, but never did. And the Mandarin, Trevor Slattery, was one of them. So I was super bummed. I'm like, man, how awesome would it have been to have gotten that figure? So years later, Marvel Studios, the first 10 years line comes out, and we have it. And it's part of a 3-pack with Pepper Potts and the Hot Rod armor, and the mark number is escaping me right now. I'm not sure what it is, 27, 28, something like that. Awesome 3-pack. That was originally going to be a Toys R Us exclusive, and then as we all know, Toys R Us closed here in the United States, so we didn't get it. Amazon ended up getting it later, but my good friend Quinn in Canada got this 3-pack for me, and I'm still super appreciative. And again, this is the number 5 figure, just because it is an outstanding figure. I'm super happy to have it. Moving on to 4. Okay, the number 4 spot goes to the Marvel Legends Avengers Wave 2, Avengers Infinity War, Call Obsidian Build-A-Figure Wave. Black Widow this is an awesome figure. I have several Black Widow figures already. They're all very good. But this one, I like that we got a brand new sculpt, everything about it. The details and the texture in the suit is awesome. Very movie accurate, but that Scarlett Johansson head sculpt is absolutely fantastic. Hasbro kills it with most of their figures on the digital face print. Not always hits. But this one is one of the standout ones, and I think it's just it's an awesome all-around figure. It was a little bit harder to find, you know, when she first came out, when that wave first came out, and still a little tough to find. I think my local Walmart actually has a couple still for the last few days. But I outstanding figure that I absolutely love. So that's the number 4. Let's go to number 3. Okay, so the number 3 figure is the Thor from the 3-pack that was originally going to be a Toys R Us exclusive that then switched and transitioned to like Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, online e-tailers. Very few Toys R Us actually got this before they closed. But this is from that 3-pack with Rocket, Groot, the teenage Groot, and this Thor. And I don't know what it is about this figure that really stands out and goes so high on the list. I'm not really sure. I think it just really kind of chalks up to Thor being actually probably my favorite character in the film. And I think this figure is executed quite nicely. This head sculpt is my favorite of the Thor heads because the hair color I think is more accurate. Nice digital face print. It's got a little electricity going in his eye. Something about this figure that I just really like overall. I think it's just a great figure. It's hard to explain, but it's just one of my favorites. It's my favorite Thor, and so that's why it's here on the list, so high up on the list. I love it. Number 2. Okay, the number 2 figure goes to the Marvel Studios, the first 10 years line for the first Avengers movie. This is the Iron Man Mark 7 figure. Now, I know everyone is tired of Iron Man figures, and rightfully so. There's been a lot. There's been arguably too many, but as a movie collector, I don't mind getting every single armor. What I don't like is when we get a 3-pack that's super expensive and has a little light-up feature gimmick that nobody cares for on a figure that nobody wanted. Other than that, bring on the Iron Mans. This one is the best one, hands down. The best Iron Man movie figure that is out there. The size, the sculpt, the detail of it, the added articulation, and all these pieces on the back of the figure is just icing on the cake. Not even necessary for me. But it is a welcome addition, of course. But my biggest thing is the sculpt is fantastic. The size of it is awesome. It's believable when you compare it to other movie figures that there is a man inside of a metal suit. None of the other Iron Man figures you really get a feel for something like that. This one you can. That's why he's so high up on the list. I think it's an awesome figure. I don't think enough people picked it up because it ended up going super cheap on Amazon, Walmart during Black Friday and everything, which is unfortunate because this is just such an awesome figure that anybody that's collecting movie figures I think should get. Anybody that collects comic figures, maybe it works and you can kind of finagle it as a comic figure. I don't know, but it is an awesome figure that I think everyone should pick up. So there is the number 2. Now let's get to the number 1 figure. Okay, and the number 1 figure, of course, is the Yellow Jacket figure from the Ant-Man 2-pack in the Marvel Studios, the first 10 years line. This figure is an awesome one. The sculpt is amazing. The paint apps are on point. Everything about this figure is great. The only problem is that it came so late. I wish it would have come out when the first Ant-Man movie came out because all we got from the movie was that first Ant-Man figure that wasn't even accurate with the helmeted head sculpt. But obviously, of course, Hasbro corrected that and gave us a correct helmeted head sculpt and gave us an unhelmeted Paul Rudd head sculpt, which is a nice touch. But really, this was my most anticipated figure. When we look back on all these movie figures and we think of which characters would be great to have, you automatically think villains because we would love to get them. My thought was always, how awesome would a Yellow Jacket figure look? I mean, awesome. And Hasbro delivered on that. Everything that I wanted and exceeded my expectations. I was worried, but Hasbro did a great job. I love the size of it. It's not too small. It's a great size. The sculpt is awesome. Everything about it, I don't know. Look at it. It's an awesome figure. So that is my top 10. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of my ranking. If you think it's complete garbage and you're like, no, this is what I would have done. Here's my number 1. I want to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. If you have any questions, always let me know. You guys check me out on Instagram as well. But if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, I'd like to thank you for watching. Here is to a great 2018 and on to a new 2019, which I'll be bringing you hopefully some more reviews like on Hot Toys and things like that. So here's to another fantastic year. But movie figures, what a year to be an MCU collector.